This isn't a story about talent. Rather, it's a story about a sport that never considered what happens when 120 million people choose to attend. Alex Eala's practice session at Indian Wells attracted a larger crowd than the stadium match that was taking place at the exact same time. And that one moment cracked open something the sport had been ignoring for years.
And support in Indian Wells. Look at this. I mean, this was in Australia. Court 6 literally had a line. I know I'm exaggerating, but it went for miles at the Aussie. It was wild scenes there. Allie, can you remember a women's star who gets this type of support wherever she goes?
Yeah, well, Taylor Swift. I mean,
Yeah.
On March 10th, 2026, at the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, California, hundreds of spectators flocked to practice Court 6 under the Palm Springs sun for a noon training session. There was no match or ranking points at stake, and Alex Eala, ranked number 29 in the world, was just hitting balls. 2 courts away, Alexander Zverev was doing the same thing. Taylor Fritz, the 2022 Indian Wells champion, was on another nearby court. The image that went viral wasn't a match outcome or trophy moment. The explanation isn't actually about tennis player Alex Eala. Rather, it's about a structural failing that had been developing for years and 3 particular occurrences in 2026 that finally made it difficult to ignore.
to say maybe a little bit of Sonia Mirza. Back in her heyday, obviously the Indian fans took to her and they followed her all around the globe, obviously not to this extent. And I think the ceiling that Alex Eala has is obviously that much higher. And I'm gonna bring in a little boxing here because my dad wanted me to be a boxer, but I chose tennis. But Manny Pacquiao.
Good call.
Manny Pacquiao, we saw him when he, was at the top of his game, and alongside Roger Federer, he actually had more prize money. So I think that if Eala, can keep doing well with her tennis, who knows? The sky's the limit on the court, off the court. I mean, she could be rolling in it, if you will.
This is the information that the viral material consistently omitted. The BNP Paribas Open at Stadium 2 switched to a reserved seating style in 2026. General grounds pass holders used to be able to enter without restriction. They were unable to do so under the new method, which caused Stadium 2 to appear under capacity, while Practice Court 6, which ground pass holders could still access, was packed. The OUTSOLD finals narrative is based on a change in ticketing regulations. This is the crucial bit, though. What fans were referring to as the ____ was in high demand. Because ___ is so mobile and focused, it doesn't adhere to the standard guidelines for premium seating. Reserved seats are not purchased by Eala's fanbase. They locate her when they arrive with grounds passes. They are buying proximity to a particular individual, not access to a matched-up match, wherever she may be. The tournament's ___2___ video featuring Eala became the most watched YouTube clip of the year, according to BNP Paribas Open executive Philippe Dor. 94,000 views. This wasn't the beginning of it. It wasn't a match highlight reel, a championship moment, or a day-in-the-life film. Yes, Indian Wells was a chapter.
She's got a smile that lights up a room, too, and I remember last year when she beat Iga Swiatek, and she kind of did it with a lot of grace and humility, and it was really, for me, it was terrific to see her take that match and watch her play after that and watch her try to continue to progress, because I like her game. Obviously, she wants to get better than where she is now, the 32 in the world, but she's got a lot of good hand-eye coordination and ability to take the ball early and redirect. But the fan stuff is always fun for me, because whenever you see players from smaller countries, the fans are so passionate when they get up to the top.
It's interesting, Ali mentioned Sonia Mirza. She has nearly 13 million followers on Instagram. That's 5 million more than Carlos Alcaraz, and nearly as many as Alcaraz and Sabalenka combined. So that's how big Sonia Mirza is, was, and will be. But Eala going to be seeded for the first time at a 1,000. To find out who she will play in the second round, check out the draw.
On January 19th, 2026, at the Australian Open in Melbourne, the first significant crack emerged. Eala's first-round main draw debut against Alicia Parks was set for Court 6, a mid-sized venue, according to the tournament organizers. Journalists and supporters instantly condemned that choice as a failure to anticipate what was about to happen. This is what arrived. Queues of thousands of supporters, many of them wearing Philippine flags, extended back toward Rod Laver Arena. Hundreds of supporters were unable to enter Court 6 when it reached capacity. In the end, they watched Eala on big outside screens in places that were set aside for that purpose. To see her, they had come to Melbourne. Outside the building where she was actually playing, they were watching her on a screen. It was said that the atmosphere within the court was heavily pro-Eala. Possibility of Alex, let's go. Roars for standard ground strokes. To keep the match going, the umpire had to continually call for silence. For a player ranked 49th at the time, it seemed like home court in Melbourne before the exit. About a dozen security personnel escorted Eala from the court following the game. That is the protocol that Novak Djokovic typically uses. That contrast is made clear in the documentation. The most accomplished men's player in the sport's history needed the same public safety infrastructure as a player ranked 49. The tournament's first Monday day session drew 68,687 spectators, surpassing the previous record of 59,621, which had been achieved only the year prior. Eala participated in the first WTA 125 Philippine Women's Open at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center in Manila between Melbourne and Indian Wells. Manila eliminated every variable, including time zone math and diaspora. No long-distance trips. The crowd was at home. This was the most accurate way to gauge her sketching ability. Nearly 2 weeks in advance, all of the semifinal and finals tickets were sold out. Here's the information that will stop you cold, though. Before Eala's involvement was even confirmed, they sold out. Tickets for the finals were purchased before the tournament even revealed she would be competing. The 1,500 to 2,000 Philippine peso standard and premium passes are all gone. FILTA, the Philippine Tennis Association, described it as a historic achievement. Eala advanced to the quarterfinals before falling to Colombian Camila Osorio. She informed the audience after the defeat. Quote 4. The audience remained. By March 16, 2026, Eala had risen to a career-high position of number 29. $1,745,329 in career prize money. Earnings thus far in 2026 alone are $264,694. However, the true computations don't take place in the ranking or prize money. With 920,000 Instagram followers, Eala's interaction rates range from 1,520%. A small portion of that is the WTA average. She is reportedly in queue for A-list sponsorship deals, according to industry insiders. Nike as a worldwide brand ambassador, Babolat as an equipment partner, Globe Telecom as a national brand face, Bank of the Philippine Islands as a regional ambassador, and locally Juice for lifestyle integration are already part of the portfolio. According to reports, Martina Navratilova was shocked by the ticket frenzy that surrounded Eala at Indian Wells. Eala is quotation, 5, according to Coco Gauff's public remarks. These are two of the most reliable voices in tennis history who are real-time observers of a structural shift. A second kind of disturbance, quieter but more difficult to ignore, has been generated by quote number 6. The cult of personality surrounding Eala may be seriously harming people's perceptions of the sport, according to author Philip Ku Unjiang. According to the documentation, local media outlets stopped talking about the competition as a whole as soon as Eala is eliminated. The sport is irrelevant. Eala is the only one who matters. The ABC scenario followed. Internal communications and senior editorial discussions, including meetings related to The View, revealed what was described as a planned and intentional strategy to use Eala's personal background and what the documents refer to as her __8 as content for daytime programming. Her quote 10 followers, including the quote 11 platform, loudly protested the internal reference to quote 9, claiming that the days of utilizing young athletes as emotional raw material for ratings were over. The attention might be overpowering, according to Eala herself. She was surprised by the size of the practice crowds. She is 20 years old. She became a professional in March 2020 and is now bearing what some have described as a nation's expectations. The part that the viral content never got around to telling is what happened next. This is what the crowded practice court 6 didn't see. Eala entered a round of 16 match against Linda Noskova, the 14th ranked player in the world. The same week she attracted hundreds of spectators to a noon training session. Less than an hour passed during the game. 2-6, 0-6 was the final score. Noskova delivered 7 aces. Eala did not fire. It's also not a day off. Eala has a 0% career ace percentage. The average is 4-6% against opponents in the top 10. The serve is the main way to score free points in professional tennis. Points gained prior to the start of a rally. None of them were produced by Eala. Compared to a top 10 average of 65-70, her first serve percentage is about 60%. Every match at this level becomes a full-length battle of attrition with no shortcuts due to her dominance ratio of 1.00. Coach Joan Bosch has been under public pressure to assist Eala in shifting away from the Rafael Nadal Academy Foundation, the structure that helped shape her, and toward a more customized strategy that directly targets what her data show. This is the significance of that disparity. The Phil-Australian community that transformed Melbourne's Court 6 into a home arena, the Manila crowd that purchased finals tickets prior to her confirmation of her admission, and the supporters who crowded practice Court 6 all operate under the assumption that the technical ceiling is only temporary. The diaspora believes that the 0% will be repaired, which is why the E Avenue exists. However, no one in the sponsorship boardrooms, scheduling offices, or WTA has yet to address the question of what happens to all of this if it doesn't. The Pine Army has already compelled Indian Wells to face a new commercial reality, the Australian Open to shatter its own attendance record, and Martina Navratilova to express shock at what she witnessed. The only question left, which the sport hasn't yet been compelled to address, is what happens when the technical ceiling and the cultural weight eventually collide on the same court at the same time. Alex Eala, ranked number 29, has accomplished all of that with 0 career aces.